Hi Aries, welcome back to Key Wisdom Tarot. My name is Ruth and I'm your Reiki Master and Tarot Reader. This Aries is your love reading for the month of December. I'm going to draw 6 cards. I'll let you know what they each represent as we go. Okay, my darling? I have shuffled and I've meditated on the cards already. I'll do a little bit more of that on camera and then we'll get started, okay? Okay, my darlings, so this is the card at the base of your reading and it is the 9 of Swords. Sword energy is about our thoughts, our minds, our clarity, our consciousness and our communications, our perspective, okay? And this is really about coming into realizations, understandings about those things. With the 9 of Swords, this is mental energy in your head, but it's about being faced with things or facing up to things. That can be overwhelming. They call this a dark night. We call this card the dark night of the soul. It can be overwhelming. However, it's a necessary hermit type energy. It's linked to hermit. It's number 9. It's a necessary hermit type energy of going on a journey to understand who we are. So that's why the 9 of Swords, even though it can feel confronting, is very positive because it helps to shed that light on really our mental state, on our perspective, etc. Okay, so let's now have a look at these cards for you. Just move this so I can see it. This is your reading. So the first this is your advice, how to achieve balance. I'm very excited to see this one. The first card is your overall energy or focus in love for the month of December, and that is a Page of Wands. This is excellent energy. This is your energy, and this is about you taking action and moving in directions that you are passionate about, are drawn to, or feel encouraged and motivated to go in that direction. Pages are the page is masculine. That's what I was going to say. The page is masculine energy, which is about taking action. So this is really about you taking action, moving in a direction this month that you want to move in, that you're passionate about, moving towards somebody, for example, that you're drawn to, taking charge to sort out your relationship status or your single status or whatever the situation that you're in. This is about taking charge. Remember, pages are also helpers. They help us to understand, they help us to move, to grow, to expand. So this message coming up for you directly is, it's a case of saying this month is a time for you to do that. It is a time to follow your passion. It is a time to expand in that way. Okay. Next we have, these cards are now not talking, but I think people think that anyway. They're talking to me. I think this one that wants to come out next. We've got this one next. This card is what or who you could encounter or experience this month. This is this card here, and it's the 8 of Pentacles. If this is a who, this is a Earth sign, a Taurus, Virgo or Capricorn. If it is a what, this means you working on yourself, your relationship status. This is you putting that work, that energy, that effort into understanding, into uncovering, but also the practical things that you need to do in order to manifest the type of relationship that you want. We've got this card here that comes out with it. We've got another 8. Excuse me. I've got the 8 of Wands. This wants to come out and clarify this. So this means that you working on your relationship or is about communication. Now, if you are married, Aries, to an earth sign, a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, this could indicate marital discord. It could indicate arguments, trouble, you know, in your marriage, you know, discord, or not like you're going to get divorced, so just in that respect. So if you're married, only for married people, this card can represent, you know, marital discord. But, you know, essentially this card is really about communication. It's about incoming communication. So this is potentially you. See, I think this is you having that communication, you reaching out to somebody, you saying, okay, you know, I should have done this, or I shouldn't have said that, or I want this relationship to work, or whatever it is personally that you want and feel guided to say. And we're going to get more information when it comes to this advice in achieving balance. I think for some of you it is I can feel it. I think for some of you it is a conversation that you need to have, something that you need to work on, but you have to sort of open the gates to that type of discourse this month, and I think that you are potentially going to do that, Aries. Okay, so let's have a look at your next cards. Your next cards represent your present, your perspective or your past, so where you're coming from. Okay, and this is the Ten of Cups. So wow, some of you are married, you know, so if this is where you're coming from, this is marriage, you know, you've had a happy marriage and things haven't, or a happy relationship, and things haven't been going potentially maybe as well recently. Everyone struggled in November and everyone struggled in October, so the fact that you're still standing is a good thing. The fact that you've made it through is a good thing. Excuse me. I had a viewer contact me on Instagram. She sent me a private message on the DMs, and I said to her, she said, you know, I'm struggling with, she's not an Aries, I'm struggling with my relationship, what should I do? And I said, listen, I said, the last couple of months have been very challenging for everybody. I said, even if you are in a relationship, you have got to recognize that you are walking your path and your relationship partner is walking their path, and they have got things to experience for themselves, for their spirituality, for their enlightenment, for their understanding, just as you have got things that you've got to face and deal with and uncover, etc., in your on your path and in your life and as an individual as well. Okay, so I get the sense that if this is your past, you know, this is saying that potentially there has been struggles in the relationship, but this is the relationship that you've got. If this is your this is your perspective, this is saying that this is what you want. You're trying to get to this Ten of Cups. You want your life partner, you want that love, you want that relationship, that commitment, and that happiness, you know, and it's a happiness that's authentic. It's a joy that comes from within when we have the Ten of Cups. It's really being with the person that we feel is right for us, and also that being reflected in how we treat each other, in how we treat ourselves when we're in that type of relationship. So it's a very positive, happy, beautiful relationship and connection that either some of you are wanting to achieve, or that some of you have maybe struggled to maintain over the past couple of months. Okay, but there's hope here, there's love here. This card wants to come out for the Ten of Cups as well. We've got the Hierophant. So for some of you, it could be, first of all, it could be a Taurus again. Okay, we've got repeating energies there, but it could also, this, you know, it could suggest a marriage as well. So for those people that are, you know, in marriages, you know, your marriage was here, or your commitment, your long-term relationship was here. This is indicating a long-term relationship and security, and, you know, maybe there's been some discord, but essentially this month is about really, you know, facing up to the ways in which things have been difficult for you, for both of you, and really trying to work on it, to put the work in to improve that situation. Okay, the Hierophant is also, it used to be called the Pope card. It is still in some decks, and the Pope is in Catholicism is Jesus's representation on earth. And so when we have the Hierophant, it's also this sense of, you know, understanding that connection, that divine connection between you and whatever you think God is, or the universe, or angels, or your ancestors, or your guides, whatever. And it's about being led toward a situation that is right for you and that is good for you. That we have to release things, we have to change things with the Hierophant, but essentially this energy, following this type of energy and this insight, is what leads us to the Ten of Cups. So you might have felt up until this point, up until this year, up until a few months ago, that you're in the right place, you're who you want to be with, you're where you want to be, and then you've been challenged. You know, this month is about changing those things. It's about taking action, putting work in to sustain or to maintain the relationship, the joy that you want in relationships, okay? This is fine. This is number 4. This card represents your love potential or your love lesson for the month of December, and I'll just show you this because I'm inspired to. 333. 3 is a master number, and that is about what I've just been talking about, the connection to the divine, and, you know, recognizing that you and your input and them and their input doesn't always turn out how you expect it to turn out. And that's because the universe always, number 3, the third pentacle, number 3, the third pentacle, the universe always has a say in the relationship, and sometimes we do not understand how that works karmically. If you're struggling karmically, I recommend you check out my video about karma, unlocking karma. It's what's it called? Unlocking Karma, the reasons why we meditate, etc. But in that video, I talk about karmic cycles and I talk about the law of attraction. So check that video out. I might link it at the end if I remember. Okay, so this is your love potential or love lesson for the month of December, and it's the 4 of Swords. Now, number 4s are about our foundations, the structures in our lives, okay? Who we think we are, what we think we want. It's all of those things. It's what makes you you. Excuse me, the foundations of those things. The sword energy is about our thoughts, our minds, as I've stated already, clarity, communication. This is why we call the 4 of Swords the meditation card, because it's about understanding, taking time out to understand, to reflect on your foundations, to reflect on what you think, what you feel, what you want, okay? This is what your perspective is, your experiences. This is what the 4 of Swords represents. Now, if Tiny's barking, he knows he's in trouble, but also we know, because Tiny only ever barks when, well, not always, but only ever barks when what I'm saying is right and spot on, okay? Like he just did then. So, for some of you, you know, this is why we need to take this time out. Now, this card has been drawing my attention to it, so I'm going to show it you. It's the Page of Cups. I'll come back to it in a second because I'm going to talk about it in a second, okay? This is why we call this the 4 of Swords the meditation card, because it's about reflecting on what you know, what you think, how you communicate, who you think you are, blah, blah, blah. And this is very interesting energy for you as your love lesson. This is your love lesson. This is you trying to understand, trying to work out the things the things that you do want now, the things that you and really where you're going to put your work, where you're going to put your energy and your effort. And it seems that you're going to put your work, your energy and your effort into nurturing potentially a relationship, into potentially nurturing the relationship that you're currently in, or nurturing the situation that you are that you find yourself in. You may be, bear with me a second. Sorry about that. Okay, you may be wanting to, again, as I said, nurture that relationship, that situation. The Page of Cups is really a sign of emotional, a card and a symbol of emotional vulnerability. It's sort of, it's that romance of wanting something, of not really understanding what it is you need to offer in order to achieve something necessarily, but willing to put yourself out there, willing to be vulnerable. This is that energy of the Page of Cups, and it's an energy that's sort of assisting you in moving forward. It's active, and you know, it's an energy assisting you moving forward. So really, it might be that you are coming in tune with, you're becoming aligned with, you're becoming alert to and engaged with this month your inner vulnerabilities when it comes to love, your inner vulnerabilities when it comes to being in relationships and sustaining the type of relationships you want. This is that type of energy of, it's not necessarily uncertain. Well, it kind of is. It's kind of like that inner child, that part of yourself that really we keep hidden. You know, I'm 35 years old, and I mean, it's only just come out of me. Do you know what I mean? I think that we can pretend to be vulnerable sometimes. We can tell ourselves, we can convince ourselves that I'm being open, I'm being honest, I'm being truthful, I'm being all in this relationship. We can pretend that for years, mate. We can. But eventually, ultimately, we find us, we see ourselves, we know that fleshy part within that we don't let other people see. And maybe this is your efforts this month in love are about recognizing that fleshy part of yourself, and allowing other people to see, or your relationship partner to see that. And that's something to see that this month, and that's something that you are working on, something that you want to work on, something that you want to work through. So it's a really positive card, actually, a combination of cards to have. The next card is your challenge, and it's the Tower. Okay, so this is one of my favorite cards in the deck, as you know, along with the Three of Pentacles. I've got some interesting favorites, haven't I? This is my favorite, one of my favorites in the deck, because the Tower energy, when that hits, we know that the universe has been listening. Even if you've not been listening to yourself, even if you've not been able to face up to things yourself, even if you find it a struggle to face up to things yourself, when the Tower hits, and it will, and it does, the reason it does is because it makes us realize, wow, okay, I needed to know that, I needed to hear that, I needed to see that, I needed to do that. This is the Tower moment, okay? I love this energy. You're being blessed with the Tower. Things can, where you are, the Tower suggests that where you are now, you're not meant to be there. Whether that's in a physical sense, an emotional sense, in a practical sense, you are not where you're meant to be. You and or your relationship partner. And this is going to get you to where you need to be. This event, it can be anything. It can be a phone call out of the blue. It can be, I have it tripping and twisting your ankle. I say that all the time. Someone said, oh my God, that happened. Your car breaking down, suddenly losing your job, anything like that. But that situation happens because the universe knows that you're now ready to move on, to move forward to the next phase of where you are, of your cycle, of your karmic path where you are. Okay, so it could be anything. We'll see here, because this is the advice. So your challenge is a sudden change, something suddenly changing, you feeling different, you thinking differently, you wanting something different, you wanting to experience something different in your marriage, in your relationship, and potentially, but it's not something that you have really any control over. You just have to go with it. Just go with the Tower when it happens. Just go with it. If you feel strong enough, go with it. Take the action to do the things that you're being encouraged and inspired to do, okay? The things that the situations around you are inspiring you to do. Take those actions. Put that work in, because that's what's going to lead you to balance. That's what's going to lead you to clarity. And ultimately, that's what's going to lead you and all of us to our Ten of Cups, okay? So finally, Aries, we've got these two cards, which are your advice cards. So this is how you can achieve balance in the month of December. And we've got the Five of Swords, and we've got the Strength card. Now, look, we've got the 4 here, the 5 here. And we know that 4 and 5 equals 9. That's basic maths, babe. I can do that. But, the 5 of Swords is really an idea of you being challenged, really. It's like this time of reflection that you spend in your love lesson really does bring you into some realizations, really does bring you into some truths. and maybe some truths that you are not yet ready to face, some truths about what you do need to change about yourself, about the things that you do need to release, about the things that you do need to work on. It's bringing in some truths this time of reflection. You know, it might be that you, again, as I said, this vulnerability, you know, it's about recognizing that with the number 5 that change needs to happen, but also with the number 5 or the 5 of Swords, we are challenged by that change. We fight against it. We fight against ourselves. We fight against our curiosity to understand. We fight against our willingness to learn. We fight against that. We fight against bringing in those changes because it is scary, because it's unknown. We don't really know how we'll handle it. We don't know what will happen, what will the outcome be. But essentially, you know that there's something that there's a way of thinking that needs to be adjusted, that needs to be released. You're really being challenged this month to find your strength. You're really being challenged this month to find what makes you you. I feel like for some of you, if you have been married for a long time, you know, you may have got married very young. And the realization is coming through that actually this isn't, you know, I thought I was happy. I thought this is the relationship I wanted, but actually I realize now that I do not. I realize that I was vulnerable, or that I just didn't want to be on my own, or I felt pressured into it by family, by society, whatever. You know, this is going to demand a huge amount of strength from you, bringing these changes through this month. I mean, Aries, it's time that you step out of your comfort zone. You need to step out of your comfort zone. We know that whenever we see number 5, you know you're stepping out of your comfort zone. But we're compounding that number 5 with this energy. I mean, it looks because that you're gonna have some success. I mean, look at this is beneath it, isn't it? It looks as if you're going to be successful, and you're going to be celebrating your power, your personal power. Your personal power is your will to manifest something. It's you exercising your will, taking actions based on what your will is, what your soul is, what you want. Even if other people don't understand, even if it's a shock to everybody else, this is you exercising your personal power, and this is what you're being asked to do. You know this situation is going to be challenging. Getting over this person, or leaving the husband, or leaving the wife, or whatever it is you're trying to do, trying to achieve, it's going to be challenging for you in love. It is. You might be having to let someone go. You might have been separated for a long time, and you're struggling to release that person. You know, if that's where you're at, if you've been separated for a long time and you're struggling to release, to get over that person, just know, be conscious of the things that you're telling yourself in your head. Be conscious of why can you not release them? Is it because of how you feel about them? Or is it because of something else? And it seems like it's because of something else. And you need to reflect on that. You need to reflect on why you find it hard to let this person go, or to let this relationship go, or to move on, or whatever it is for you. There's something that you're stuck on. You're stuck on thinking that this is the right person for you, or that this is the right relationship for you, or that you're not good, you can't get anybody else, it's too late for you with anybody else, blah, blah, whatever. You're stuck on that. And, you know, with the Strength card, this is showing that this is a situation that's actually showing you your strength, that you have to be patient and work through. Now, when we see our strength, we have to be vulnerable. We have to be in situations like this, where we are vulnerable, where we feel vulnerable, because it's only that when we overcome these situations where we feel vulnerable, where we feel challenged, that's when we see our strength, okay? So really, in this respect, you're feeling vulnerable when it comes to making changes in your love life, making changes in your relationship if you're in a long-term relationship. But it's essential that this is really it's essential this month that you move in a direction that feels comfortable to you. That doesn't mean that you've been married for 30 years, so you dump your husband or you dump your wife and say, right, we're getting a divorce. It just means that you engage with this understanding. You engage with this process of the Nine of Swords, where you're trying to understand. You engage with this process and you recognise, oh my gosh, I keep telling myself the same things. I've always thought this way about myself. You just engage with those questions. You just start to let yourself hear them. You start, which is what this card represents. You start to let yourself recognise that, which is what this card represents. So it's about coming into realisations for you this month, Aries. Coming into realisations this month when it comes to love. The realisation of, wow, I do really want to get married. I've said all my life I don't want to, but actually I really do. God, why have I said all my life I didn't want to? Like, oh my God, like, then maybe something happens. What will happen? I don't know. It's a tower, so I don't know. But whatever it is, it's going to bring you. It might be, as I said, it might be challenging. But whatever the situation is with the tower, it's going to show you, really, you can get up. You can overcome this. You can get to the relationship you want. Or you can end the relationship that you want to. Or whatever it is for you as an individual. Okay? So, Aries, I hope you like that reading. This is your love reading for December. If you did like it, give me a thumbs up, please. And of course, please subscribe to my channel. If you've not already, press subscribe, click the bell. And by all means, share this video. Share it on your social media. Share it, send it privately in Messenger or in WhatsApp, whatever you want to do. If you think it's going to resonate with somebody or if it really does resonate with you, okay? You can also leave a comment. And for those of you that are interested, you can follow me, follow Key Wisdom Tarot on Instagram, at Key Wisdom Tarot, and on Facebook, Key Wisdom Tarot, okay? Next week is my personal reading week, so I probably will not post next week, but I may. So, as I said, click the bell so you get new notifications, and you can check out your general reading, which runs up into the... Excuse me, I could feel that coming. You could check out your general readings, which run... Might as well stop. Which run until the 9th of December. Thank you so much for being here, Aries. I hope you have a fabulous December and a very Merry Christmas. And I'll see you all again very soon. Take care, my darlings. Bye.